Okay, so at some point you'll be in this situation where you've got some loudspeakers put in there. You think you've got them pointed the right way you want them, and all that stuff. And you're going into here, and you're plotting the coverage. So if I select all three of them here, we can see that's our 4 kilohertz. So hopefully you're able to get this far. Now, for the assignment, I have asked you, make sure I get this right. So I've asked you to plot 4 different frequencies: 500 hertz, 1 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz, and 4 kilohertz. Okay? So, and then I say, turn that in as a PDF file. Let me explain. What you're going to want to do is make this window at least as tall as you can, like this. Depending on your screen layout, things may be a little bit different, but you're trying to set up a picture here that kind of works. So that's good. So if this is my 4 kilohertz plot, what I'm going to do then is I'll go to the File menu, and I will say Send Picture to File. Okay. Now you click that, and it says, okay, where do you want to put it? And it will make a folder for you in your project folder for this thing. And I would advise you to keep that so you don't lose all this. That way it's all together. And I'm going to call this, you need to label it something that you know what it is. So I'm going to call this CC for center cluster 4 kilohertz. And I will hit save. All right, and then while I'm here in this window, I'm going to click here at where it says 4 kilohertz and select 2 kilohertz. And then click this button here to re-render it. Okay, so that's 2 kilohertz. So now I will send that picture to a file. I'll call this center cluster 2 kilohertz. Then I'll go to 1 kilohertz and re-render. Yep. And send this to a file as well. Center cluster 1 kilohertz. And then I will go to 500 hertz and re-render. And save that. Okay. So it's going to, well, look up here. Look up here, everyone. I'm going to say send picture to file. And if you notice, it is showing you the directory where it's going. It's going to the public documents, ease4data, projects, and then should be the name of your project, and then a folder called pictures. All right. I would suggest keeping it there for reasons that will become clear in a moment. So you can find it now by navigating to that spot. So you're going to go to C, Users, Public Documents, ease4data, Projects. Mine is 2023 class demo, and there's the folder called Pictures. Okay, and there's the pictures. So in my case, I've got AutoCAD running over here on the Mac side, and I'm just going to need to get these pictures over to the Mac side to be able to plot them. So I'm going to create a folder here, and in just going to scoot this over here and copy them over there. Okay, so now I've got them over on the Mac side. If you're running on Windows, like Boot Camp or just native Windows, you should have AutoCAD already installed on that side, and you don't have to worry about copying them. Okay, so then over here in AutoCAD, I've got a layout ready to go, and I'm just going to insert raster image reference. Now here's the important thing. It is what is going to be inserted here is not the picture. What is going to be inserted is a reference to where the picture is located, which means you really want to have these pictures sitting in the same place as the file, the CAD file. So if I look here, it's in this folder on my computer. So what I'm going to want to do is take this folder of pictures and put it over there. And I'm going to just call this ease renders. And it's sitting in the same folder as the CAD files. And that way when you have to move from place to place, or you upload it to the server for archives, or you share it with a member of your team, you're not moving the CAD file, you're moving a folder that has all the things that the CAD file needs, because when you put the picture in the layout, it's not saving it into that CAD file. It is just saving a little bit of data that says, hey, there's a picture over here on the computer. And if the CAD file moves to a different computer, it's going to go look for the picture in that spot. And if the picture is not there because it's on a different computer, you will not see that in your CAD layout. It'll just have a broken link. Does everyone understand what that means? Okay. So let me show you now how this is going to work. So I'm going to say insert raster image reference. And I am going to go to the place. Let me find out where this is. So in my case, okay, I see where that is. It is going to be over here. Over here. Should be there, and there's ease renders, okay? So I'm going to get the 500 hertz one. And this is what it's got. And it says you're going to specify the insertion point and the scale. Actually, I'm going to just leave the scale unchecked. I click OK. It says, all right, where do you want to put it? Well, I'll stick it right there for now. All right, so obviously that's a little tiny. So here's where I will scale it manually. You're trying to just make enough room for all four of them to fit here. So there's my 500 hertz. And then I'll insert another one. There's 1 kilohertz. And I'm going to try to get these the same size. There we go. See what I'm doing? This will be my 2 kilohertz. So on and so forth. So anyway, I line all these up, and then if you want, and you probably should, just because the text here is kind of small usually, you can actually put labels in here, you know, like that says 500 hertz. That's obviously way too big. That's better, right? And we can just stick that under here. So on. You know, you can lay it out real nicely. Okay, that's how you would do it. But remember, this is now a reference file. The picture's not actually in here. It's not saved to the CAD file. If I hit save, it's not loading that picture in there. In fact, if we look over here, actually it's this place, Reference Manager, there's this list of references in these files. And it just says you're going to find them in this folder. So, and it's just doing this relative to the location of the file. So it just says dot slash means you'll find them in the same place that the CAD file is, inside of a folder called ease renders. So if you move this to another computer, that's where it's going to look. It's going to look inside its own folder and see if there's a folder called ease renders. And if there is, it's going to try to see if these files are in there. But if they're not there, it's just going to show you a broken link. So make sure you're moving these files around with the CAD file in the same file structure. It's starting to get trickier, and it'll continue to get even more tricky managing your files. Your level of success that you will have generally in computering is going to be understanding where your files are. That you have a strategy for that, you have a plan for how you're going to organize them, you have a plan for how you're going to move them around. You have to think about that, and you have to plan it. You can't improvise that and just let things go wherever they naturally end up going, because then you'll never find anything. And that will slow you down so much if you aren't keeping track of your data. So make a plan, stick to it. It's best if you plan that ahead of time. Like, okay, I'm making a folder for this project I'm working on, and I know where that folder is. It's in this place in my computer that makes sense to me. And I'm going to put everything related to this in that folder so that I can move it around, right? Now, that might be an external drive. It might be somewhere else. But you have a place that you're putting it, and you understand where everything is. It becomes very important when you're working with reference files like this. Okay? Any questions about that so far? Yes, Eric?
With the AutoCAD 2024, I'm not sure if I can find the rastering.
I mean, it shouldn't be any different. It might just be in a...
Yeah, the bar, it's not at the top, it's like in.
Yeah. So you are going to, because you've got this whole ribbon thing going on. So go to click Insert. No, it's not there. Go to Reference. Click that little button down there. Try doing Attach. Attach.
Maybe attach a file.
Yeah. So that's where you can get an image file and you can put it in there. So where did you put the files? Where did you save the image?
Saved them in my class demo.
Okay, so go to that folder and you'll find them there. Okay. Next thing. Sometimes you need to move an ease project from one computer to another. Like maybe you need to share the project with another person on your team who is going to do some edits to it. Or you need to use a different computer to work on the next part because your computer broke or something, right? Or you need to turn in the ease file to your teacher so that I can open it and look at it. Well, remember, this ease project that you've been working on is lots of different files. Let me show you. So if we go back to where this is, users, public documents, ease data, projects. All right, so here's the folder. Look at all these things in here. Look at all these files. None of these are useful all by themselves. They're only useful when they are together. And there are some other files that are part of this as well, like the loudspeaker definition files that you're using, because you pulled them from the database on this computer. And maybe if you move it to another computer, that computer may not have those same loudspeaker files in its database. And so even if you just move this folder, it's not necessarily going to work on another computer because it contains references to data that may not be on that other computer. Okay? So what you've got to do is make sure that everything that is needed to work with this project is moving with it. And I will demonstrate now how this is done. So you go over here to the main ease window. And with the project open, you're going to go to the File menu. And you're going to click this button that says Pack Project. Did everyone see that? Was everyone's eyes looking? OK. So when you do Pack Project, this little window popped up in the background. And this is where you put it somewhere else, like on an external drive or somewhere else. Wherever you want to put it, this you can put literally anywhere. It doesn't matter where you put this. There's no particular location that is needed. So I'll stick it on my desktop, and I'm just going to call it the 2023 class demo, and I'm going to click Save. And it's going to ask me, what do I want to do? And the defaults are include everything. Minimize all base files, include cluster components, compress the pack file. Yes, I want all those things. And it gives you this log of what it just did. So if we look at it here, it exported all those files that were in the folder, but it also went in and got the loudspeaker files that I had loaded, and it saved that into the zip file as well. So you can close that, and now you will find that. If I go to my desktop, I will find that here. There it is. It was created today. And there's this LST file sitting right next to it, and that LST file is the log of what should be in there. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that we should be able to open that in like Notebook or something. Let's see. Notepad. Let's try that. Yeah. So that's just that little LST file is just the log file of what all is supposed to be in that project, just in case you want to double check. But aside from that, this is not needed. This is just a little text file. It's not needed when you're moving from one place to another. Okay? So this little zip file here is the file, though, that you then move. Now, don't unzip it. In fact, never unzip it. The whole point is now it's all this one thing. It's now one file that has everything in it, and you should just keep it that way. And you move it now to the other computer, or you upload it to Canvas, or you do whatever. Put it on the archive server. And then what happens is when you get to the new computer where you want to open it up, you're going to go to the File menu here, and you're going to say Import Export. And it brings up the Import Export app. And you go to the File menu, and you select Install Packed Project. And what that's going to do is you go and you select, it says, do you want to waste the data of the 223? This is another kind of German translation thing, waste. I don't know what the German word was, but it sounds very dramatic. It just means this is currently loaded in RAM on the computer right now. Do you want to like dump that? It's not going to delete it from your computer or anything. It's just like, we're currently looking at something. Do you want to stop and save that or anything before you do this? Because we're about to, and anyway. So you just say, yeah. And it says, OK, go get the zip file. So you go find it. And I say, OK, there's the zip file. And you click Open. And it's going to say, all right, where do you want to put it? And right now, it's defaulting to the location of the zip file, which is really not what you want to do. You want to go put it in your ease project folder, which is under C, users, public documents, so on and so forth. So you would go in there and navigate to that. users, public, documents, east4 data, so on and so forth. Go to projects. There you go. And then you would click OK, and it would. And in fact, actually, you want to create a folder for it. So you want to say / the name of the project. Okay. So I'm going to call this ease import demo. And you click OK. It says, hey, that folder doesn't exist. Do you want us to create it? Yes, please. And then I click OK. And it says installation is finished. And there it is. Now, if I go ahead and it should open it by default, but if it doesn't, you can go in and get it. And I'm going to go here and find it. There's the import demo. And oh, that's weird. Oh, ease import demo. That's from an old year. Here we go. This one. There's the whole thing. And I've got it. Now I can work with it. Okay? That's how you do it. That's how you move files back and forth between two computers on ease. Okay? Any questions about that?
I did get an error
Okay.
on the very first step. It just says that an action cannot be completed because a component ease IMAX is not responding. She switched to activate the component and correct the problem.
Yeah, it's because remember, it launched another application, and that application is sitting in the background, and it's waiting for you to give it answers to a question.
Got it.
So if you click down in your little status bar down here, you can open up that window, and it'll be asking you something.
Gotcha.
All right. Other questions?
Something more like the homework part of it is like we're going to turn in those 4 little references.
So you're going to turn in both. What I want is a PDF file showing those 4 coverage plots for each of your 2 options. Okay? And then I also want you to turn in that zip file, that packed project zip file. I want you to upload that. And I also want you to upload a written explanation analyzing those 2 sets of data, saying of these 2 options that I have plotted, this is the one that looks best. Now you could include that in the PDF file that has those layouts if you want, or that could be a separate file. That's up to you. But that's what you're uploading. You're uploading the ease zip file, a PDF showing all the graphics of the plots, and a written justification. Okay? Other questions? So your mission is to basically, you have a couple options. You can just recreate exactly what you did for the Directivity project that we did last month. Just literally do that exact same thing. Just do it in ease. Or if for some reason those things you chose, you can't find ease files for them or whatever, that's fine. Pick something else and plot it. I'm not looking for good yet. I just want to see that you can go from nowhere to a completed thing. I just want to see if you can go through all the steps and get the program to do all those steps for you. To draw the room, import some loudspeakers, point them around, plot them, get the coverage plots, save them, export the project as a packed zip file, send it to me. Right? Those are all the steps. Because you'll need to be able to do all those steps for the final project, which we will start working on a week from today. And ease will be the first part of that project. So and that's the part where you start trying to make something good. Okay, but before we get to there, I need to know that you can actually get the program to do all the things that it's going to need to be able to do. Okay? So I'm looking for completion here. Not necessarily looking for good. I'm just looking for completion. Can you do it? Can you get to the end of that and send me all the things you're supposed to send me? And can you accurately interpret the data that it told you? I don't really care if the data is good or bad. I just care that you can look at it and make some sense out of it. Okay? Because that's a critical part for that final project as well. Okay? Other questions?
I just got a question about the image.
Okay. Anybody else?
I see what you meant by it's just repetitive. It's easy, just repetitive.
Yeah, this is not hard. It's just a lot of steps. But this is way faster than calculating it manually like we did a month ago, right? So you just gotta, there's no shortcuts here. Ease is not an obstacle between you and getting something done. If you see it that way, you're never gonna get very much out of it.
Be friends with it.
It's a tool. It's a tool that helps you to make better decisions, right? It will help you. And if you use it that way, you will get much more out of it, okay?
What do you need to put on the layout thing? Because you have a little layout things for pictures.
I mean, so this is just my title block that I use when I do CAD stuff. You don't need to do that part. That's not super important for this, but you just need to have something. And you don't even have to throw it in AutoCAD if you don't want to. You can, if you have some other way of stringing together all those files and presenting them nicely in a PDF, that's fine. I don't really care. I'm just doing it in AutoCAD because that's ultimately when you do a full system, you're probably going to have multiple layouts in an AutoCAD file for all the different parts of the drawing, and so it's easy to just make one for the ease plots. Okay? Alrighty, let me stop the recording and